One of the more common responses you're going to get these days in the meta is a far shoulder roll. So somebody that is gonna make their far shoulder disappear like that. And what this could result in is you wanting to let go because you feel like your head's gonna hit the mat, or you could chase them with a normal shoulder roll. They roll their left shoulder, you roll your left shoulder. And then we end up in a position where maybe we can attack a crucifix. Maybe if we drive into our opponent, they might drive back, and we can slip our hip under. Okay? But also maybe they get their hips to the ground, slip out, come up on top. Okay? So when we follow somebody and roll across their shoulders, like looking this way, so go ahead. We could win, drive back in, yeah, or they could win. Okay, so it's a pretty even position, or at least one where both of you have quite a bit you can do. You'd prefer to have a better advantage, a better way to track. You'd prefer that when the movement stops, you're on the back and you don't have additional movements to make to take the back. So when somebody rolls on that shoulder, what you can do is instead of rolling on the same shoulder, you can roll on the opposite shoulder. And what you're going to do is kind of drive your shoulder into the back of their head. And as they vacate this space, you're going to occupy the space between their back and the mat with your shoulder and your chest. To keep your head out of the way, look at the hips. Okay? And you're going to track that roll, and you're going to see that your opponent's going to fall right into your back control. As they roll, they're now wedged up off the mat by you. They become light and easy to direct into your hooks, okay? You'll see people do this move preemptively, meaning that they're in a turtle, opponent's not moving, so they're gonna drive their shoulder into the back of the head and sort of do a back step to direct. This works well, but you can see George is like much lighter than me. We're also like very dry. When you're facing someone your own size, your own strength, very slippery, that movement can often result in you slipping out and giving up position, okay? If perfectly executed, no technique, every technique will work, right? If it's perfectly executed, but you have to account for the probability that a technique won't be perfectly executed, and some techniques are easier than others against resistance. So for me, I much prefer to use this as a counter. If I have control of you and you're not moving, I'm more likely to continue working for inside control and try to take you down towards me, where I maintain that control. I'm unlikely to introduce dynamic movement into the situation that either of us could potentially use against one another. So you could do that move in any number of contexts, but where I think it's best used is to counter the far shoulder roll, which you will encounter. If you're breaking your opponent's balance to get a seatbelt and they're collecting their base, then they're often gonna roll over that shoulder and we're gonna chase, okay? So we look at the far hip, we drop our shoulder into the back of their head, and our chest is gonna occupy the space in between their shoulder and the mat. Carry them down to our hooks and secure our position. Let's look at that one more time from another side.